Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I have some farmhouse DIYs for you that are look for less, trash to treasure. I did some thrifting, I did some clearance shopping. I want to show you guys what I got, take you along with me and show you my dupes for the Antique Farmhouse website. They have so many beautiful things on there that I think that you can make it for much less. So let's go ahead and jump into the video. So my inspiration for today came from the Antique Farmhouse website, and if you like farmhouse or rustic decor, you are gonna absolutely love the items that you find on here. I had so much fun browsing through and finding so much inspiration. So for this first piece, I found this wooden book holder and I thought this was so cute. It was $31.50 and I just knew that I could probably find something really similar in an antique shop. So I went over to an antique shop in my area. It's called the Brass Armadillo. It's a huge antique shop filled with so many booths, and I found so many farmhouse styled booths, and I just thought they had so many beautiful things, and I just happened to be able to find a wooden book holder like this in the shape of a cutting board, and I just thought this was perfect. So the first thing I did was take it out to my garage, and I did sand down those foil details on there, and I'm gonna grab my Waverly chalk paint and plaster. An amazing subscriber sent this to me because I haven't been able to find Waverly in my local Walmart, and they were sweet enough to send me some, so thank you. And I'm just going to lightly paint this. I want this piece to look distressed and worn and rustic. That's going to be the theme of all of my projects today. So what I'm going to do is mainly focus my paint towards the bottom and then drag my brush with the remaining paint towards the top. And then I also do that same thing at the top, focus at the top, drag it down towards the middle, and I just really like the way that this made the cutting board look, made it look very rustic and distressed and old, and that's what I was going for. Now for that front piece, I really liked that color for it, and I thought that the plaster color and this kind of golden oak color really went well together, but I just kind of wanted to make it pop a little bit more. So I'm gonna grab a little cup of water and some caramel colored apple barrel paint, and I just mix that together to kind of make my own stain, and I went over that front piece several times just to really make that color pop out. I wanted the wood grain to still show and all of the little dents and scratches that the wood had. I didn't want that to be covered up, so I just made my own stain, and I think it looked really great. Now I didn't want to leave this plain, and the original item on Antique Farmhouse had a design on it, so I decided to break out my CRICUT Joy and create a stencil. Now you could obviously do this with any kind of stencil that you have, or maybe you have some stickers that you want to use. Anything will definitely work. I decided to go in more of a farmhouse theme for this one, so I am just going to weed out all of the pieces that you would normally leave in with a decal. So I'm going to take out all of my letters. You'll want to make sure that you leave the little pieces in your letters, like for the A and the O, all those middle pieces. It's just going to be just like a stencil. When you go out to the store and you buy a stencil, you want to take out the pieces that you want painted. And then I'm just going to transfer it onto my cutting board with my Expressions vinyl transfer tape. You guys know how much I love this one. It's my absolute favorite, and I always have it linked down below. So I just transferred my stencil and I centered it as best as I possibly could, removed the transfer tape, and then I wanted to do this technique that I did on a previous video to stencil, and I absolutely love the way that this looks. So I'm going to take a sponge, I get it wet, I squeeze out the excess water, and then I take my paint, dab it on there, and then start stenciling onto my piece. This creates the most beautiful barely there kind of stained effect. If you're wanting your words and letters to look crisp and clear and, you know, bold in there, this definitely isn't the way to go. You want to make sure that you just use like a stencil brush to do your stenciling, but a wet sponge I feel like just makes this look so rustic and weathered, and I just absolutely love it. So I'm going to remove all of my vinyl from the cutting board, and then I wanted it to be just a little bit more weathered and matching all the distressed on the cutting board, so I just took some sandpaper, went over a couple times, I added some twine around the top of the cutting board again, and hot glued the ends in the back, and I love this piece. I think it turned out really pretty. I only paid $4.25 for this item, so I feel like I absolutely scored, and it looks gorgeous. Today's video is a collab with Christina Elizabeth here on YouTube. If you have not seen her videos, they are so amazing. If you love Farmhouse DIYs, you are going to absolutely love her. I was so inspired by her even before I had my own YouTube channel. She is one that I watched all the time, and she gave me so many great ideas for farmhouse rustic decor. Plus, she is super sweet and understanding when I completely messed up our collab. So thank you, Christina, for being so amazing, and thank you for collabing with me today. I will have her video and her channel linked in my description box. So I was browsing through the tabletop decor on Antique Farmhouse, and the first thing that pops up is this beautiful bird votive, and I just think this is really cute with that bird on top, and somehow I was able to find almost an exact replica of this in that antique store, but this one has some vines and leaves on it. I just thought it was absolutely gorgeous. I did pay $10.20 for this. I took it out to my backyard because I knew that I didn't want it to just be the plain cream color or the brown. I wanted to add some color into my pieces, so I found this steel blue spray paint from Rust-Oleum, and I gave this a good 2 coats. Once it was all dry, I brought it inside because I wanted to give it a little bit more of an antiqued look, since that's the theme that I was going for, antiqued and distressed. And I just took a paper towel and started rubbing the wax anywhere that I thought that would look good. So all over the bird, I rubbed it all over the leaves, up and down the bars, really just about anywhere, and that's all I had to do for this DIY. It was really easy, and I think this color is beautiful, and I love how the wax and the steel blue color, I feel like they really complement each other, so I just thought this DIY turned out beautiful. So one thing that I noticed on this website is that there were a lot of candles and there were a lot of wooden bowls or trays. And so I found this mango wood candle that I thought was really pretty. And when I was at the Brass Armadillo shop, I found a whole section full of wood bowls, and I found these two in a set. I only paid $6.80 for the two, so a little over $3 each. I grabbed some Dollar Tree candles and I melted down the wax by putting them in a pot full of boiling water, let them sit for about 15 to 20 minutes, and I removed the wicks from those candles and super glued them to the bottom of my wooden bowl. Now, forgive the filming for this section. My 5-year-old daughter is filming for me, so that's the kind of filming production you're getting here. As best as she could do, she was being my helper for a minute. So I just super glued those wicks down, and then using some hot pads, I'm going to take those candles, and with the melted wax, I'm just going to pour the wax inside of the wood bowl. And I did use both of the candles. There was just a little bit of wax left in one, and then this wax did not have any scent to it, so I grabbed my essential oils and poured some orange oil into my candle, and then just trimmed down my wicks when the wax was all dry. And now I have my own orange scented candle in the wood bowl, and I just think it's so fun. And the wood bowl and the candle, I just love the way they go together, so this one was really fun. I went onto their wall decor on Antique Farmhouse and saw this chalkboard with the frame and thought it was really cute, and somehow I happened to find this piece at Goodwill that looked basically the same. It's actually a Hobby Lobby piece. I paid $4.50 for it, and all I had to do was paint the entire back with my Waverly chalk paint and ink. I love this paint because I only had to do one coat. It covers perfectly, really fast. And then to speed up the drawing process, I did use my heat gun that I purchased from Amazon. I always have this linked in my description box because I do not have time to wait for paint to dry, and this speeds up the process so much quicker than just letting it air dry. Once the paint was all dry, I grabbed my measuring tape and I measured 2.5 inches from both sides on the top and just marked right at that 2.5 inch point. I wanted to take this out to my garage and drill some holes in it. The original picture on the website did have some twine looped through for a hanger, so that's what I wanted to do. I just took some twine and tied several knots at the top. I did want a chunky knot look, so I did tie about 5 to 6 knots for each side. And then you could always leave this blank and just use it as a chalkboard, but I wanted to add something to it and I wasn't quite sure what. I went through my stencils that I have, and I had a big pack from Joann's, and I found one that I liked, and I just wanted to use the Bless This Home portion. So I taped this down, and originally I was going to go in with some chalk markers that I had, but I wasn't quite feeling that, and I decided that I wanted to make it look more like chalk. So I'm going to take my Waverly chalk paint in white, and I'm going to do that same technique for stenciling that I did before with a wet sponge, and I'm just going to stencil all over, and I just do an up and down motion. If you do side to side, you're going to get a lot of bleeding. In this case, I didn't really mind a little bit of bleeding because I feel like chalk just naturally kind of has a messy look to it. And so I just did one good stencil coat over the entire thing, removed the stencil, and this is what it looked like. I thought it turned out really great, and it does, to me, look like some chalk on a chalkboard, and I just think it turned out so cute. So on their website, they had a ton of candle holders, and I noticed that a lot of them had the beaded details to them. So I wanted to try to recreate my own version of this. So I happened to have a candle holder and a smaller little candle holder dish from Michael's that I purchased on clearance probably about a year ago now. So the first thing I did was grab some wire and some wooden beads that I purchased from Amazon, and I just strung the beads on the wire, and I just put put on enough to the point where I could cover the outside of that candle holder. Now I'm just going to attach the two ends of the wire together, so I just cut them down pretty short. I added some hot glue to one end, and then I just pushed that wire and beads into each other so that the wire went into the holes of the beads. And then I didn't want a very big glue mess on this, so what I tried to do was just hot glue one side down, and then for the rest I went in from the inside and hot glued the beads down to the candle holder. That way you wouldn't be able to see all the hot glue. I took some gel super glue onto my large candle holder, and then I just pressed that down on top of my beads, tried to get it as centered as I could, let that cure for several hours. I ended up putting some wood on top of the candle holder so that it would all stick down really well, and then I took it outside and I spray painted it with that same steel blue color that I used for the bird votive. And I just thought this color was so pretty for this DIY. I used some sandpaper and I distressed the edges of it so that brown would peek through a little bit. And I did that to the entire candle holder. And then I went back through with some Waverly chalk paint in white and a chip brush. And I just went around the entire candle holder. I made sure to go in circles, not up and down, so that it would all kind of flow together. Hopefully you understand what I mean. You can obviously see what I'm doing here, but I just think this turned out so pretty. I love the color of it, and I just think it looks really, really great for only being a couple of dollars, and I have an antiqued and distressed candle holder.
That's it for today's video. Let me know what your favorite project was in the comments down below. Also, make sure that you check out Christina's video. Again, linked in my description box. Go show her some love. Let her know that I sent you. Give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe before you leave. That little button down there, why don't you go ahead and click it and become a my crafting family here on YouTube. And I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.